This whole new dashboard's different. There was no way of doing a sound test, so when people come on, if you could tell me if you can hear me, a couple of comments just to say that you can hear me would be great. So yeah, I can't. It's all different since the last time I went on Facebook Live. It's completely different. Basically, I the layout's different. Everything's different. The dashboard is different. So yeah, I can't see if people are interacting. Hmm. Oh, I don't know what is. If whoever's viewing, I can't see if I've got viewers. I can't see, the dashboard's a bit different. I'm getting the hang of it now, but if you can just let me know that you can hear me, because I don't. There's no like way of checking my volume for me. So if you guys can hear me, I guess. If you can't hear me, you won't know that I'm asking you to write that you can hear me. If you can hear me and see me, can somebody just put on there? Yeah, you can hear me and see me. Um, uh, it's here and see me. I put that. See if that comes up. Oh, we've got thumbs up. So that could be, yeah, thumbs up. You can see me, or thumbs up that you're glad you can see my face, or you can hear my voice but can't see my face. I just need someone to write a comment somewhere to let me know, please. Is there even a box to comment? Kelly McCauley. Thank you very much, Kelly. So at least we now know that I am being heard. And yeah, lovely. So that's the main thing. You can hear and you can see, which is perfect. Right, okay. This is... let's have a look at what I'm doing here first and foremost. So this is my most, usually when I get an idea in my head or a subject in my head, I just record to camera and send it. I don't think about how it's going to be perceived. I don't think about if it's the right thing to do. I don't think about anything, but this is something that I want to say, and I say it and I put it out there. This, as you will probably know if you follow my Facebook, for the last week, 10 days, I've been up and down about doing this. I've had some problems while on my internet the other day, but I've been up and down about doing this one. And the reason is, like, part of me thinks, who cares? Who cares what I think? I'm nobody to give anyone any advice. I'm not in a position of any kind of authority. I'm not, who cares, basically? And part of me also thinks, like, politics is perceived as boring. It's perceived as something for old people. Lots of people don't really want to get into it. All that sort of stuff. And anyone who knows me and has spent time with me away from Facebook will know that I very rarely talk about politics. So I don't talk about politics a lot to my friends, my guys at the gym, etc. It's not really something that I talk about. I don't discuss it a lot. So yeah, I don't want to be a political correspondent. I don't have any real desire to be involved in politics. I just really enjoy politics. Like people will watch things like House of Cards and stuff and they'll love it, but they'll look at UK politics and stuff that's actually affecting their life and they'll say it's boring. Well, I think all of us can agree that current politics is anything but boring. The current situation, Boris Johnson, the parties, the investigation, the Met Police. At this moment, we are involved in something that is anything but boring, and it's quite exciting. So if you want to get involved in politics, now would be the time, because you're sort of involved in this unfolding real-life Netflix drama, So, yeah, that's been my reluctance to really get involved in and say or speak about the subject. But at the same time, I'm not one for not putting out what I think, as all of you will know. And I usually do that with a written status, but I don't also have all the hours in the day to keep corresponding to 400 odd messages. And as much as I love that people choose to interact with my statuses, it can be a drain because, you know, I have a business to run or a class to teach or this, and I feel like I'm obliged to go back and respond to people. So it can be a bit of a drain. So I can put this out now. People can ask questions in the comments box if they want to, or even, because I'm by no means politically astute, you can even critique what I'm saying or correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll try and rectify that either instantly or within another subsequent video, because the point of all of this, especially with the subject matter, is education, and my education as much as anybody else's. So if I can be taught anything, if I misquote something, if I get something wrong, hey, I'm a man who's been punched in the head far too much. My memory's bad, and my understanding of everything is not, you know, as I say, I'm not a political correspondent. I'm not politically astute. I just share my opinions, and hopefully people are interested. The reason I decided to actually do it in the end is because people have said, mate, are you going to do that video? Oh, you said you're going to do it. Are you going to do it? And I've had a few people say to me, are you going to do the video? You should do the video. So I'm going to do it, right? I don't usually care what people think. I'm putting it out there. Listen if you want to listen. Don't listen. I don't really know, basically. So, yeah, that's it. Emily, I don't know if it's just your phone freezing. Sorry. From my end, everything seems to be going well. I keep getting this little box click up about frame rate, but I can't change that within the recording, I believe. So, unfortunately, I don't really know what I can do other than keep talking, and hopefully, hopefully you will be able to keep interacting with me, I guess. So yeah, basically the current situation. I mean, it's not just a 30 minutes of me bashing the current government, not 30 minutes of me bashing Boris Johnson. There will be some of that, definitely. But it's just a case of, I've seen some people post some stuff, and I'm like, wow, how can you be in that place with everything that's going on currently? How can you still be in that place or of that mindset? And it like blows me away. And so I want to talk about that from where I'm coming from. And these people maybe don't understand politics very well. Not to say that I do, or maybe they have a different way of looking at things that I haven't thought of. So a quick rundown of where we are. Obviously, the biggest issue at the moment with this party thing, with Boris Johnson, repetitive lies in Parliament about parties that have gone on in Parliament. Well, first and foremost, let's have a look at the situation, because people are going to assume that I'm a Labour supporter because I constantly bash Boris Johnson and the Conservatives. I voted Labour once in my life, and the only reason I voted Labour is because I didn't want Boris Johnson to be Prime Minister. So I had to tactically vote. The way to tactically vote is to vote for the one seat in your area who has a chance of beating the Conservatives. And the one seat was Labour because I was in a Labour stronghold area. Now, that's reflective of the awful first-past-the-post system that we have in politics at the moment. And that first-past-the-post system means that whichever party gets to 326, is it, seats, majority, they win. That's it. And why that's so bad? It's a good system if there's a two-party campaign, of course. But this is why it's bad. If you have 5 different political parties, say, you've got 5 parties in the country, all running for Parliament. So let's say the Conservatives get 51%, okay, and then the Labour get, I don't know, 40%, let's say. All the rest of the votes then will be shared out amongst everybody else. Sorry, let's scrap that. Sorry, right, okay. Let's say Conservatives get 28%. Labour get 27%. So you've now got 55% of the vote. All the rest of the vote, the other 45% of the vote, gets shared out between the other 5 parties. Now, the Conservatives, with their 28%, will be elected to govern the country. But what that means is you have 28% of the nation's vote, 28% of the nation's population are being represented by the party that they want to be represented by. That means that we have 72% of the rest of the nation are not represented by the party that they want to be represented by. So immediately we can see the flaw with the first past the post system. It's a terrible idea. Now, there are other ideas and they have been tried, and it's not for want of me saying I have a better idea. I have lots of different better ideas, but that's just so you can understand how the first past the post system works. You can be represented by 28% of the by a party that has the support of 28% of the nation. The other 72% of the nation have never voted for them, so you have a party that's ruling by the majority of the seats, but a small minority of the overall voting population. So it's massively flawed, okay? I have a massive issue with it. I don't like first past the post system, which is why I choose not to vote a lot of the time, because I think we need to all stop voting. As soon as we stop voting, it forces change. You can't vote for change within a system that's already flawed, so we have to force change. So we stop voting in the current system and we force a new system, or force talks about a new system at least. That's why I choose not to vote a lot of the time. Now, people who say that I'm a Labour voter, I'm obviously not a Labour voter. I certainly would not be a Labour voter under the current government. I don't like Keir Starmer. He stands for some stuff that I don't really agree with, and I think his attitude towards drugs is quite old-fashioned, and he references a lot when he was part of the CPS on his take on drugs, and I think it's a very poor way to handle your understanding of drugs within society, is to just look at the criminal side of drugs, which is obviously what he did because he was in the CPS. So I think that's a flawed way of looking at things. I also think that hunting is a massive part of my life, and it's not just a hobby. Hunting is, since I was 12 years old, hunting has been a huge part of my life. A Labour government puts hunting in all forms in jeopardy, and so there's lots of reasons why I'm not a Labour voter at all. I am massively critical of the Conservative Party, however, this time, and Boris Johnson in particular. Now, just to run through some things that Boris Johnson's done. Let's talk before political career. Boris Johnson had a wife who was having cancer treatment, and he cheated on that wife. He cheated on that wife and got another woman pregnant whilst she was undergoing cancer treatment, which is obviously abhorrent anyway, but, you know, that's people's personal lives. So if you say, well, people make mistakes, okay, I find it weird that you dismiss that as the leader of your country, but okay. He was sacked from newspaper jobs, and he's written in newspaper articles very anti-Semitic, very racist, very homophobic articles. So I think when we kick a leader of the Labour Party from the Labour Party because of anti-Semitism within a party, but we accept anti-Semitism, homophobia and racism from the man who's then been elected the Prime Minister, I think we already are starting from a very flawed start point, and we've continued with that. There's a plethora of other things. Before he was elected to Prime Minister, the stuff with Brexit, the stuff that was proposed, just the way that he approached it before he was even Prime Minister in the campaign. And then we've got the stuff when he was Prime Minister, the Brexit campaign being the biggest one. The fact that people say to me still now, yeah, but he got Brexit done. No, he didn't. We're out of the EU. He didn't deliver the Brexit that you voted for. He didn't deliver the 350 million to the NHS. The immigration laws are awful. He's absolutely destroyed the fishing industry. Destroyed it. It's on his ass. The Northern Ireland thing, almost starting a war again in Northern Ireland, in all the issues in Northern Ireland. Terrible. When he went to sent Jacob Rees-Mogg to the Queen, again, the vilest of vile, Jacob Rees-Mogg, sent her to the Queen to lie to the Queen to prorogue Parliament. Prorogue Parliament means basically stop Parliament, have a break in Parliament. Lied to the Queen, which subsequently went to court, then went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled it was unlawful. So he did that, he lied. And then when we put into context as well, all the things that have happened pre-Partygate, okay? So let's have a look. The Dominic Cummings thing, Priti Patel bullying thing, the Matt Hancock issue, as many things as you can list there, they are all separate to Partygate, and they're all huge issues. You have people within a parliament like Priti Patel, who it's reported uh, is systematically bullying other people and lower MPs to achieve what she wants to achieve. Now we've got the claims from other people that Whips bullied them in order to get what they wanted to get, telling them that they would pull funding back if they don't support the government within the current issues. So, just looking at all of those things, I think what we have is we have a current Conservative Party, where the only way to succeed in the current Conservative Party is to either be corrupt or be willing to be corrupt or have no avenue out of the Labour Party, of the Conservative Party. And herein lies some of my big issues. So, let's have a look at the party thing, okay? So Boris Johnson on the initial one. You remember the one way back, like April or whenever it was, a dodgy connection offshore. I'm sorry if people experience a dodgy connection. Again, just let me know. Sorry, Andrew. So let's have a look way back, say April time. The first party, when Boris Johnson said he has no understanding of the party, doesn't know about it. He's he's looking into it, and he'll be as shocked as anybody else. But we then find out that actually they do know, and they've put someone in charge, Allegra Stratton, to actually deal with anything if it does come up. Now, what you will probably not know, as many people don't, is that Allegra Stratton was actually quite a respected MP. Okay, she was quite respected and was making moves, especially within for female politics. Was actually doing some quite good stuff. She went under the radar, wasn't really involved in any scandals. She also never organised a party and never attended a party. She was tasked with defending a party should it come up, and there was a video of her in front of other members of parliament discussing how they would defend this party, and she was laughing. Now, whether she was laughing because she thought it was a joke and a joke on everybody, or whether she was laughing as much as to say, what the hell do I do here? How would you go about defending it? And she chuckled. And she resigned or fired. She was definitely fired. She was pressured out, okay, by Boris Johnson, of course. A woman who never attended a party, never organised a party, was tasked to defend a party, and was videoed sniggering at the fact that she doesn't really know how to defend a party. It's not me defending Allegra Stratton. Get rid of her. You were willing to defend the criminal acts of a party, of your party. Get rid of her. Okay, that's my take of it. I'm not saying she deserves your sympathy and she should come back. Get rid of her. Matt Hancock breached lockdown regulations, was kissing in a hallway, the most ridiculous head teacher, secretary coming together of two individuals I've ever seen in my life anyway. If you're going to get sacked for extracurricular activities at work, shall we say, at least let it be Pornhub quality, not a kiss and a cuddle and a pinch of the bum. But he was gone, and rightly so, because I just couldn't see his smarmy face anymore on TV. There was the Owen Paterson thing with the backhanders and everything there. And of course, Dominic Cummings. Now, the Dominic Cummings one is really the one that we needed to focus on a little, because the reason that Boris is being thrown under the bus, well, that's such a bad, he's not being thrown under the bus at all. Boris Johnson is under the bus. He's not being thrown under the bus. That's where he's put himself. The reason Boris Johnson is there is because Dominic Cummings is coming out with everything. The reason Dominic Cummings is leaking everything out is because Dominic Cummings was the man who put Boris Johnson in the position he's in. Boris Johnson would not be Prime Minister if it wasn't for Dominic Cummings. So Boris Johnson is in power. Dominic Cummings comes under scrutiny, and of course he's got to go because he breached these rules, went for a drive to test his eyesight during one of the worst pandemics when the rest of the country had to be locked down. And the PM saw that actually this is really bad press, people have been dying, and he's been out taking a drive. So the PM decided he had to go, and he went, and Dominic Cummings has obviously thought to himself, well, hang on a minute, stuff you. I've spent my last couple of years of my career promoting your career. We get to a sticky situation, I've been thrown under the bus, you're coming with me. He's a snake, isn't he? He's a snake. But generally, when we look back at those things that have happened, you can only survive if you're a snake in the current Conservative Party, can't you? If the leader, the man at the helm, is someone who lies to the Queen, lies to his ex-wife, stands in PMQs and tells Parliament, I didn't know about a party, I'm as shocked as you are, it's a disgrace. If he stands in front of them and he says that, and then it turns out he not only did he know about a party, he attended parties and even hosted parties. If you've got a man who sold PPE contracts to Spanish entrepreneurs with no history of buying PPE at the cost of £28 million of taxpayers' money, the current cost of PPE procurement in the UK at the moment and fraud of PPE procurement is £4.6 billion. If you've got a man who's willing to do all this, look you in the eyes day after day, stand in Parliament, look across to his peers and tell you all of this stuff. I didn't know this was happening, didn't know that. Oh yeah, I had no idea. And it keeps coming out over and over and over again that this is happening. This is someone who has no regard and thinks there's no consequence or repercussions for betraying you, betraying us, okay? Now we're at the point where he's being investigated. Let's have a look at that quickly. He appoints Simon Case, okay, to look at the investigation into the party. Simon Case has to report to Boris Johnson. That's the way it works. Boris Johnson says, I'm going to do an investigation. And then all the Conservative supporters, he's going to do an investigation. He's going to do an investigation into himself, of which the man who's reporting will have to report back to him, and he can tell you whether he's done anything wrong. I mean, in itself, sounds absolutely mental. The person who does appoint, Simon Case, was at said parties. Simon Case was at least one of the parties. So he had to be sacked because he was at the bloody parties. He was investigating to tell us whether Boris Johnson done anything wrong by having parties. This is Netflix drama, surely. This is Netflix drama. Only it isn't. Only it's more exciting. Because these are the people who are telling you how you should live your life. Now, then he appoints Sue, I forgot her last name, Sue Gray, to do the report. Sue Gray starts doing the report, and the Met Police have then decided, actually, there's an investigation as to whether there was any criminal activity within Downing Street. But it's okay. Sue Gray can still do her report. There's nothing's going to correspond. It'll be fine. She can do it. Then the day the Sue Gray report's due, the Met Police turn around and say, actually, no, you can't release that report because we don't want you to tell people stuff that may interfere with the criminal investigation we've got going on. Now, if Parliament and your Prime Minister is under criminal investigation, okay, enough that it would stop his own investigation, it's reporting back to himself, surely we already know there's an issue. We know there's an issue, right? He doesn't need to be found guilty. We know that in itself is a big enough issue that our Prime Minister should be said, actually, perhaps it's time for me to move away because I've done enough wrong that I'm actually even being investigated. And not investigated. It's not like, look, it's not being investigated because he got caught speeding and said his missus was driving and she's taking the points. No, he's been investigated because he told you that you must stay at home. You must stay at home to save people's lives. You must not go to visit your dying relatives. You must not have more than 2 people at the funeral of your dead child. At the bedside of your dying child. You must not have 30 people at the funeral of the child who subsequently died from the illness where none of the family could actually go and visit him. You must stay at home because we must protect the NHS and people are dying. This is a Prime Minister, however, who's also had COVID twice at this point and been in intensive care. Whilst he's telling you that you must do all these things, there's been, what we know of so far, 7. That's what we know so far. 7 parties, many within Downing Street. Okay? Surely we know enough. We know enough, right? But, okay. So then the Met Police say to Sue Gray, hold off on your report because we don't. Sue Gray should say, no, I'm not holding off on my report, because all you're doing with it, me holding off on the report, is either you will come out and you will say the Prime Minister's done nothing wrong, and then my report's irrelevant anyway, or you are covering up and trying to protect the misdemeanors of the Met Police, which in itself should be criminal. So, either way round, these are the issues, right? Now, within all this, after all this has come out, and I'm not telling you anything new, you might have turned off by now because I've heard all this. I listened to this on the BBC. Even the newspapers are turning against the bloke now, you know? And Emily, you said classic case of someone who thinks he's untouchable. That's exactly what Boris Johnson thinks he is. He thinks he's untouchable. And the reason he thinks he's untouchable is because he's built a Conservative Party where you have to fit in or you're destroyed. Your political career is destroyed if you are not corrupt and you are not willing to conform or behave the way that the Conservative Party want you to do. He would destroy each and every member of his cabinet's career. He will walk away financially in a very secure place, because I should imagine he's got some very good contacts and made some very good contracts within all of these PP procurement issues. He's going to walk away and leave people like Allegra Stratton with not only their career in tatters, but no way out. She's going to be stacking shelves at Tesco if she hasn't got if she hasn't got a nest egg, you know, because there's no way out. She's not going to get a gig on Have I Got News for You? No one's going to want to see her face anymore, because she's become the perpetrator of evil, not the man who's actually been giving her the jobs and the tasks. And it's absolutely crazy that in all of this, in all the misdemeanors within his personal life, within politics, etc., 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 it's mental that there are still people defending him. And Scott, if everyone looks at the last comment, please, Scott's comment. Scott, this is my issue. This comment absolutely infuriates me, unless I may have misunderstood what you said. You said, they are all corrupt, nothing will ever change. If you mean the current Conservative Party, I'll agree with you. They are. However, they are all corrupt. If you were saying politicians, I'm afraid I have to disagree, because as where there will be somewhat corruption throughout politics, there always has been somewhat corruption through politics, and there will be. They're not all corrupt, and the difference is, somebody said to me the other day, they're all the same. Do you think Keir Starmer would be any different? Do you think he'd do a better job? Well, I don't need to think about that, because he's not in office. He wasn't in office in Brexit or through the pandemic, so I don't have to think about that. That's an ignorant, gaslighting straw man, okay? I don't need to think about that, and neither do you. What I can tell you for a fact and unequivocally is Boris Johnson is a criminal. Boris Johnson is corrupt. Boris Johnson has repeatedly lied to you. He has lied to his loved ones. He has lied to his own party. Okay? Keir Starmer might just be a crap politician. That's not the same thing. They're not the same things by a long shot. It's not the same thing, okay? It's not like Boris Johnson's repetitive lies, his corruption, his criminality, lying to the Queen, lying to Parliament, lying on the dispatch box, refusing to answer questions is not the same as being crap at putting your point across and being a bit of a smarmy git, which that's Keir Starmer, obviously, we're talking about. As much as I don't like Keir Starmer and I don't like a lot of his policies, it's not the same. He's not Boris Johnson. That's not the same thing. You have to stop conflating, okay? And Scott, if that's not what you meant, I do apologise, but that's one of the things that pops up a lot for me and I have to address. I said this would be 30 minutes long. It's going to go over, I think, slightly, but that's because I did the introduction as to what this was at the beginning, which I won't do in subsequent ones in future weeks. So this one might be 40 minutes, let's say. So yeah, they're not the same thing, okay? And that's really important. It's really important that you understand that all politicians are not the same as Boris Johnson. All political parties are not the same as this current Conservative Party, and it doesn't mean the Conservative Party will always be the same as this Conservative Party. That's very important to understand. At the moment, it's one of the most corrupt in political history, and it needs addressing, and there's potential for other political parties to be corrupt, but they're not all the same. I don't believe that your local candidate for the Green Party is as entwined in misdemeanors and corruption as the current Conservative Party, and it's ignorant to assume that they are. We will see I'm not sold on any of their BS. No, Scott, I agree with you, which is why I try and refrain from even taking part in the activity of voting. And this is another thing that gets me. People say, well, if you don't vote, you ain't got a right to dissent. Well, that's nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Don't fall for that. If you don't look at politics and you don't wish to engage in politics and you don't review politics and you don't stay politically aware, then you don't deserve a right to comment. I agree. You shouldn't comment. It makes no difference, okay? If you stay politically aware, you engage in politics, you review politics, you study politics, but you choose after all of that to not take part in the current political, the way politics is run, then you 100% have a right to talk about politics and how it should change. 100%. So don't fall for that ignorance. That's just a gaslight trick to engaging because people are stuck from what they say. Okay, Emily, problem is I don't trust any of them, so when it comes to election I don't know if I will vote. Valid point, but here now is my biggest issue of all of politics. We have to stop celebritizing politicians. They are not celebrities. They are not winners of X Factor. They are not movie stars. You should not want a picture of them if you see them eating at Nando's. None of that. They're public servants and you pay their wages, okay? That's what they are. Start getting that in your head. They work for you. You elect them as the best person who represents you. So all the people who say, oh, I don't like Keir Starmer because he's smarmy and he looks weird. Yeah, all right, I think he's smarmy and he looks weird. However, I don't like Keir Starmer because of his politics. I don't like his take on drugs. I think it's a bit archaic, he's a bit of a relic when it comes to that. I don't like I think he's far too conservative as a Labour government, and I think what he's doing is he's appealing to all the people who will drop off the Conservative government because Conservative support because of their current corruption. They will obviously lose people, and he's trying to pick them up by swaying more to the right and becoming more conservative. I don't like that. But the main thing is they are not celebrities, okay? Politics is not football. You should not pick a team and support it. People say, but I've supported Labour my whole life. I've supported the Conservatives my whole life. And you should be embarrassed. Okay? Because unless you were born a multi-millionaire toff who can spend their life doing what they want and they don't have to make choices, your life will have changed dramatically over the years. Now, that's not to say that you wouldn't still have voted for the same party. However, at 19 years old, I was working on the door, trying to become a professional MMA fighter. I had a very young daughter, like a year-old daughter. I didn't own my own house. I had not, my life was very different. Now, in my 30s, I own a property. I have a business. I employ people. I have a grandson. I pay tax on my car, fuel in my car, I'm taxed on this. I think about pensions. The current gas price hike is a worry to me. So all of these things have changed dramatically the way that I look at politics. And it should be the same for all of you. So every time you're starting to look at politics, the number one thing should not be, actually, who seems the least smarmy? Who seems like he's got less of a hand up his bum and being puppeted? It should be, let's look at the manifesto. Which party is representing most of all what I need in my area? And sometimes you have to be less selfish. You have to look at whether investment in parks or social activities for the elderly or your rubbish and waste clearances, any of the non-sexy stuff to you, you look at that and you see, right, this party represents best of all what I want from the colour of that part. I think all manifestos should be released with no attachment to any party. Release them. They're all in black and white on A4 paper. You then say, I love this one. This is the one I'm going to vote for. This one suits me brilliantly. It's irrespective, isn't it, who the party is? Who cares what party that is? If it's the Conservatives, and then you find out, oh, God, I got the smarmy git who I didn't really like. Yeah, but it makes no difference, because the smarmy git who you didn't really like is actually representing all the things that you want for you, the future of the country, your children, your grandchildren, the current energy crisis. They're all covered. So who cares? You got to look at the smarmy Burke on TV. Who cares if when he goes on LBC radio or anything, you can't stand the way that he pronounces his T's at the end of a sentence. Nobody cares. You've got exactly what you wanted. I would rather have that than a bumbling buffoon with a blonde mess of hair on top of his head because he's funny. People have literally said, oh, Boris is funny though. Oh, he's entertaining, he's funny. Yeah, good, brilliant. Vote him on to the next I'm a Celebrity then. There we go. That's the career for Boris Johnson. Reality TV. Get him out of politics. Don't vote for Boris Johnson because you like him and you find him funny, and then bend over whilst he absolutely penetrates you and all the rest of the country. However, there are people out there who I swear to God I believe that if they walked in and if they found Boris Johnson in bed with their partner, they would cheer him on, clap, and then wipe him clean with their own towels, with their own curtains. I believe that those people exist. There are people out there who are saying, yeah, but he got Brexit done. No. We're out of the EU. He didn't get your Brexit done. Okay? It's not. It's like, oh, well, yeah, well, I'm never voting for Labour. I couldn't. My mum. Come on. A great example of how politics should be was this. Now, Christian Wakeford was a Conservative MP. He left the Conservatives and he joined Labour last week. Now, I'm not saying that Christopher Wakeford's motives for that were as integral as he says they were, but I'm going to assume they were, okay? And what he did was he said, Conservatives can no longer represent what my constituents want. I'm leaving because the Labour Party can represent what my constituents want. Now, people got annoyed and they said, hang on, your constituents voted for a Conservative politician. That's irrelevant, isn't it? It's irrelevant if they voted for a Conservative or a Labour politician. Surely they voted for a man who could fulfil the requirements of the area, requirements of the constituents, and a man who delivers on the manifesto. That's what they voted for, surely. If they're going to be annoyed because that man's now going to be wearing a red badge instead of a blue badge, you are not politically astute. You are not interested in politics. You are not intelligent. Okay? You're not. What you are is you're a supporter of a team. And what annoys me most of all is when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer lost 3 matches, everyone was saying Ole must go. Ole out, he's not good enough, he must go. Boris Johnson's at a season low. He's not won a game all season and people are still supporting him to stay in the Conservative Party. You have to be willing to walk away from your political alliances if your political alliances no longer fulfill the requirements that you want from your political party. They are not your friends. They are not your family. They are not celebrities. They are the people you are choosing to fulfill what you believe this country requires. Now, if you're a Brexit voter who voted because you didn't want immigration and you want to stop these people coming here and Boris will get this done, well, you already know that that's a flaw now because immigration has backfired because lots of the people who were living here, hardworking immigrants, hardworking people from other multinational European countries have left. They've left because we're on our ass, okay? They've left the UK and they're not coming back. I know because I know lots of people who are from European countries who have left. If you're talking about the guys who come over in rubber dinghies on illegally, I've had that discussion with you before. They have my full support. Come here, I'll take as many as we can get in. 100%. I welcome them all. Please come. I welcome them all. But if you're talking about those people, I'm afraid that I think we might be up on them this year since Brexit. So that was also a flaw. So you have to look at whether your motivations were somewhat racially motivated as opposed to politically motivated if you're going down that route. Something you said actually rang a bell in my head. I hope so. Otherwise, I'm just sat here talking nonsense to people, which might be true. This is about honesty. I can't stand the way Kira addresses things, so I don't listen. So to be fair, I've not given him. Okay, Emily, I'm not saying Kira's honest in any way. It's not up to me to. But I'm saying listen. If you're going to be into politics or become politically astute, listen to these people. Only then will you know if they're actually lying. See. So yeah, listen to them. We have to, please, we have to get away from this red side, blue side, yellow side, green side. Please, my biggest issue with everything surrounding politics is the mafia-esque approach of, oh, you can't leave this party. You're not, look, you're not doing drug deals with Colombian cartels, okay? If you want to go elsewhere to get your political fix, or if you want to go elsewhere because this party represents best what you want, this is not Ozark. You leave and you find the politician or the political party, and listen, you might be completely against Labour, but your local Labour MP is absolutely brilliant, so you vote for him because you want him to stay. Under the current system, that would help get Labour elected, but you might not be Labour. You might not agree with Labour, but for your local community, they might be absolutely fantastic. So please keep voting that way, but make sure it's because you understand the manifesto. What you have to do, and what you must do, and this is particularly aimed at current Conservative voters, okay? No, I take that back. This is aimed at current defenders of the current Conservative Party, not Conservative voters. I take that back. It's the people who are defending the current Conservative Party. This is aimed at you. Multi-millionaires, Rishi Sunak's net worth and his family's net worth, his wife's family's net worth is like 4 billion or something. She's worth 400 million. Boris Johnson's a multi-millionaire. Jacob Rees-Mogg, the human spitting image puppet, is a multi-millionaire. Multi-millionaires are convincing people who earn £100,000 a year that people who earn £20,000 a year are the reason that this country is in a political crisis. Think about that, okay? For years you have stood because you earn £100,000 a year and you consider yourself middle class, or your family's a little bit better off, and admitting that actually the Conservatives have actually sold me down the river and I don't want to be a part of Conservatives. Admitting that is you admitting that actually you think alike and you are closer. In life, you are closer and more related to someone on council benefits who's never had a job in their life than you are to the current Conservative government. Unless you were a multi-millionaire, if you were sat earning a six-figure, 250,000, you earn 250,000 quid a year. If you were sat there, 250 grand a year in a 1.5 million pound house, you are still more closely related to Donna up the road with 6 kids who's never had a job in her life claiming benefits. You are still more financially more closely related to her than you are the government at this moment. Let that sink in. These are not your friends. They're not celebrities, and they're not here to represent you. They're filling their pockets. Again, the current Conservative government, they're filling their pockets as they systematically and continually corrupt everything within the party that you support. Please stop defending the Conservatives, the current Conservatives. Please demand for Boris Johnson's head. Demand it. Anyone who's voted Conservative at any point in their life, and especially in the last election, demand for Boris Johnson's head. And please, everybody read the manifesto of every party going forward. I would love nothing other than unity, where we sit around and we talk and we discuss, and it's all about the politics. It's not about the segregation, okay? I'm not saying you should give away part of your £250,000 pound a year to Donna down. I'm not saying it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that if you've got 4 properties, you're out of order because there's people. I'm not getting involved in any of that. What I'm saying is that the reason you are your relation to me, Donna, even know who Donna is. You, Donna, me. The reason we are so united and we are so closely related in comparison to them is we're their bosses. They work for us. I want your wealth, your finances, your business, your children's inheritance, your pensions to be just as protected as my children's benefits when I pass away. I will have a lot less to leave them than you will. I am not on a 6-figure contract. I don't have 5 properties. I don't want you to lose any of what you have or have worked for just so that I can give a bit more. I'm saying the current government does not care about taking everything you have, laughing in your face and belittling you as they stand at the dispatch box, look you in the eye, camera, the opposition, and they tell you, I don't know about a party. I don't know what you're on about. No, I'm as shocked as anyone. I'm as mad as anyone. Oh, actually, this would be my opportunity to tell you all that I've had 5 parties, in fact. There's been 5 parties. The Met Police know about the parties. I'm not going to take that opportunity, though. I don't know anything about it. So this was my political one. It went on longer than I thought, but I did introduce it at the beginning. I'm considering doing a live at 5 thing, just so 5 o'clock on a Friday or maybe a Wednesday. Not always about politics, obviously, but it can be about a multitude of things. Just because I don't always have time for long form podcasts. So I'm thinking about doing it. Maybe it'll be about, the current transfer window, or maybe it will be about, I don't like any subject, if it's a poignant subject and it's in the news, I will maybe do a live at 5. If you enjoyed it, please let me know that you enjoyed it and you'd like me to do some more. If I didn't address any of your questions, let me know. But thank you everyone for viewing. I'm really pleased I actually did do it and got it off my chest. Enjoy your weekend.